Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to the Off the Woodwork Podcast. I'm very pissed off, Matt Perry, because as we were just discussing, I've had 3 bounties in a row in my advert calendar. It's only day 4, obviously. It's not nice. I'm joined by Stephen and Ant. How are we?
Yeah, I'm not bad. You should go buy a new advent calendar.
No.
And if you're wondering why I'm wearing a hat right now indoors, it's because, lockdown hair is a thing. But luckily, haircut next week, so.
It really is a thing.
I've not had my haircut since September.
Do you know, well, I haven't had a proper haircut since probably about January time. I've just been getting them.
No. I was able to get one in September before I moved to Liverpool.
Literally, the day they announced that we're going into second lockdown, that was the day I was going to book my haircut, so I kind of got screwed over.
Do you know what my dad did the other day? He got a message through because he booked a haircut quite a while back, and it was supposed to be like a fight about like Monday or something whilst we're still in lockdown, and he got a text through saying we'll see you soon, and he's turned up at the barbers on Monday expecting to get a haircut. I'm like, I don't think it's going to be open, mate, if I'm honest.
For sure.
That's funny. Anyway, we're going to do something a bit different on today's podcast, and that is we're all going to give 3 reasons why we think Olivier Giroud is the greatest footballer of all time. Anthony, you go first.
Because he models with his bum out.
You stole my...
You stole it. You stole mine as well, so that's 3. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm just a bit gassed about Giroud's voice crack. I'm just a bit gassed about Giroud's performance the other night. No, what we're going to be doing
biggest mistake Arsenal ever made was getting rid of him.
Absolutely. Maybe Ashley Cole. But yeah, we're going to...
No, biggest mistake Arsenal ever made was getting rid of Patrick Vieira.
So anyway, we're going to go through the last week in the Premier League. Anthony, how were the predictions this week?
So does everyone remember the scores from last week?
So I had 12 or 14.
You had 12, I had 9, and Stephen, you had 4. This week, Matt, you've extended to, you now have 17 points because you got 5 points this week.
Okay.
Stephen, you're now on 10 points because you got 6 points this week. And I am also on 10 points because I got 1 point this week.
Oh, my God. 1 point. Oh, my God. You've only got 1 result. Right. What was the result? City to beat... Fulham.
Yeah, City to beat Burnley. That's the only one I got right.
Wow.
Yeah, not the best, isn't it? Right?
That's mad. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. I'm still happy sitting top of the table for now. Hopefully that continues.
So season overall, I got the first round of predictions right, and then Stephen won the most recent round. So can you tie it all up, Matt? What do you think? 7 points clear so far.
I mean, what do you mean in general? Like, what's the overview?
What I'm saying is that the first round of fixture predictions, I won, right?
Yeah.
Until that international break. Then we did the next one where Stephen won until the most recent international break. And now we're doing this round. Do you think you can win this round, or do you think you'll choke?
No, I'm not going to choke. I'm looking again at my predictions this week, and I'm pretty comfortable. And I'm 7 points clear, so if I did, I'd have to screw up pretty badly. How many more weeks have we got on this one?
Isn't this one till the end of December?
End of December. Okay.
It's no more predicted Brighton to win, and then you'll probably win this one. So.
Saying that, there is a lot of games to pull through in December. Exactly. I like to think I can put my own. But yeah, we'll see.
So shall we get into some of the games?
Let's move on. So again, there were some weird results. There were some interesting results. Go through a few that we're not really going to touch on. Crystal Palace keep up with their terrible form, losing at home 2-0 to Newcastle. City beat Burnley 5-0 because of course they did.
First time we've seen City be closer to what we'd expect, I'd say.
Yeah. West Brom picked up a 1-0 win against Sheffield. Sheffield again continuing to be just absolutely abysmal this season. Meanwhile, Wilder's having fights with Jurgen. And Southampton were 2-0 up against Man United and crumbled and lost 3-2
to Edison Cavani.
Very good headers, I guess.
Did we see the free kick? Ward-Prowse has scored another one.
Yeah, Ward-Prowse is on fire. He's playing really well.
I can't tell if that was a good free kick or if that was bad goalkeeping from De Gea. Because he gets a hand to it. No, but it's not like a great height for a free kick. It's like a safe height. It's not down low or up high. And De Gea gets a hand to it. He should be strong enough to me, that's more bad. It's a good free kick, but
put it this way,
should have saved that.
I think on current form, Mendy probably would have saved it. Alisson probably would have saved it.
Ederson would have saved it. Lloris would have saved it.
Nick Pope would have saved it.
Yeah, but Nick Pope conceded 5 this week.
Martinez might have saved it.
Martinez would have saved it.
Martinez would have saved it. And that's my point.
Aaron Ramsdale would have saved it.
Pickford probably would have saved it as well. Pickford's a good shot stopper.
Why is it United? Why is it United are always a team that go about 2-0 down and always come back to win 3-2? They always do it. They always, over recent history, it always happens to them. But yeah, moving on anyway. We're going to talk about some other games, some with more VAR controversy, because of course there was. That's the Premier League.
Is it controversy anymore if it always happens?
I suppose, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's start with your team then, shall we, Ant? Liverpool drew 1-1 with Brighton, the 1 week where I don't back Brighton to get points, and then they go and... Oh, wait, no, I did. I put them down to draw. Hey!
Yeah. You predicted 2-0.
My boys, Brighton. Happy days. Anyway, yeah, Brighton, Liverpool 1-0. Anthony, talk us through it.
Wasn't a brilliant performance by Liverpool, but it wasn't a bad one either. It was pretty much a kind of performance you'd expect from a team that are just kind of wanting to keep the ball around and then get a couple of goals. You know, the standard Liverpool performance against smaller teams. Brighton had a couple of good chances. I think it was really a tale of two halves. Liverpool were much better in the first half, Brighton much better in the second. I think Liverpool were unlucky because, like I say, they scored 2 goals that were offside, and both goals, while close, were while they were tight, were both offside. No problem with those calls. Or the first penalty awarded to Brighton, where Nico Williams comes in and trips the player and then Maupay puts it wide. No issue with that being a penalty. Stonewall.
Second penalty.
Oh, it's not a penalty. It's not a penalty.
He does just go and boot him in the foot.
He didn't though. The thing is, if you actually look at it and don't pause it like VAR does, if you look at it, Robertson takes more impact. If Robertson had fallen to the ground and rolled around, the ref would have given a free kick. Welbeck stands there for 2 seconds, then goes down, clutching his foot. It's not a penalty. And I'm not the only one who's saying it. Almost everyone was going, well, that's not a penalty.
Well, yeah.
When you pause the picture at the freeze frame that it shows, it looks like a penalty because it's a freeze frame. It's out,
not in real time.
Whereas in real time, it's not. Robertson takes more contact than Welbeck does. It's more free kick than a penalty.
I personally didn't think it was a penalty. When I first saw it, I was like, nah, no way. Looking on it now, maybe I could see why it was given, but there was a penalty that was given in another game that was quite similar to that incident, wasn't there?
I'm not 100% sure. I can't recall. But
yeah,
but to me, it's not a penalty, regardless of whether it's been given more than once. To me, that is a soft.
It's definitely harsh. It's very harsh.
But that's my point. I don't think that is a penalty. I can understand how it might look from the freeze frame. I can even technically understand in a way that, oh, it looks like he's done this. But if you watch it in real time, it's not a penalty. And it's just like the thing is, Danny Welbeck on BT Sport said, oh, it was given. On 5 Live, he gave an interview, said he wasn't sure it was a penalty. So if the striker who receives the penalty isn't sure how it's a penalty, I'm pretty sure that's a pretty damning statement. But the thing is, people talk about like Liverpool having VAR in their favour. No teams had more decisions go against them this season than Liverpool with regards to VAR.
Yeah, I think definitely last season it did something, but this season it just seems to have gone the complete opposite direction, where Liverpool have actually been screwed over more times.
We've had arms, shadows given as reasons why goals are disallowed. We've had players not sent off for trying to injure our star players. We've had penalties given against us that aren't penalties. And we've had penalties for us that weren't given. It's a bloody nightmare.
So in 10 games this season, Liverpool have conceded 17 goals so far.
Yeah, but if you knock out the Aston Villa game, they've conceded 10.
If Martin had bollocks, should be my uncle. What's your point?
My point is that it's a lot of goals. It's a lot of goals. But if you look at it, one game there is a large factor for those goals. And I'm not saying that that's an excuse because Liverpool shouldn't have lost that way. But what I mean is if you take out that one game, it would be from 9 games you can see the 10 goals, which isn't great, but not nearly as bad.
Are you still fairly optimistic about the month coming up ahead, Ant?
It depends. It honestly depends. It depends how soon Thiago's back. It depends when Trent's back. Alisson's now out for, I think it was only a week, they said, on Wednesday. So he might miss the Wolves game. He might not. No one's really sure.
I think they said he was unlikely to play.
Yeah, he's unlikely to play Wolves, but I'm pretty sure he's back after that.
Yeah.
So I think this is the worst time for Liverpool to have this many fixtures to play when like half their team is out injured.
Your young keeper did all right the other night, though, didn't he? He kept.
I thought Keller had a good performance. I think Curtis Jones looked really good against Ajax, in my opinion. Yeah, and then his goal wasn't a brilliant goal, but he had a good performance.
Do you know what really annoys me recently watching Liverpool? The one thing that really annoys me is how greedy Salah is at times. It does my head in. Yeah,
he's been like that for a while, though. I think people, it wasn't like he wasn't greedy in that season where he bagged nearly 40 I think over 40 goals in all competitions.
Something like that,
It's just most of the chances he took were going in. He's still taking the same number of chances. It's just he's not scoring as often.
Yeah.
I've seen that. He's still our top goal scorer.
I think Mane is more like the inside forward and Salah's more like that inside striker and Mane is more like that inside winger where I think Mane is supposed to be more the creative and Salah's more like the
when we play a 4-2-3-1, Salah plays up front.
Yeah.
So he is our striker. He should be taking most of our chances.
I mean, you've still scored the joint most amount of goals so far this season. So
that's the thing. Like Liverpool, once again, if you take the Aston Villa result out, Liverpool don't look that bad. We're 7 points behind where we were this time last year after this many games. So we're not doing as well, but we're still joint top of the table.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. If Liverpool's bad performances are they're still joint of the table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
the thing is, any reigning champion is going to get extra scrutiny. That's just how it is.
Yeah. But I don't think Man City are competing for the title this year, whereas I think Liverpool are. I think Liverpool will still be top 4, Matt. I just think the way they're playing, I can't see them realistically competing for the title. I think it'll be Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool. But I think out of the 3, Liverpool have got the best track record of being most consistent.
I mean, we've got to remember at the moment there's only 6 points between 1st and 11th. City down in 11th.
That is very true. And City have game in hand.
Game in hand. If they win that's 3 points. I still think City will be up there.
Very true.
But yeah, it's very tight at the moment. Very tight. And the next month's going to be big. It's going to be big to see how everybody sort of handles the kind of pressure from the exhausting fixture list. Talking about exhausting fixture lists, did you see Jurgen's interview after the game, I assume?
Yep.
What do we make of it?
I am 100%
I get both
sides.
I get both sides. I get both sides. He's complaining about the congestion. They're saying, well, why are you complaining to us? Shouldn't you complain to the people that, have more of a say in it? Like Des' whole point was, why are you moaning at us? The pundits and the commentators and the TV people. And the TV people pay to show the games and they pay for slots. They're not saying Liverpool have to play 12:30 on a Saturday after playing Wednesday. They're just saying we want a game at 12:30 on a Saturday afternoon. So I get Des' point, but I think Klopp was more using a platform to get his point across.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to attack him personally. I think he was just saying in general, to like the media as a whole, why are you doing this?
It was a good debate though. The thing is, like, because both of them, they're not like fighting with each other, but they're both actually talking about the issue.
So you don't have
But I just didn't like. Obviously, as a journalist, you're supposed to get a reaction, but he was clearly going and trying to press his buttons and trying to get him to react.
Well, I think the thing is, I think the thing is, a lot of commentators and pundits were quite angry at Klopp for kind of lambasting during the week.
Yeah,
because if you look at how people praise Des, a lot of them, Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer, Neville, Carragher, they've all come out and have kind of backed Des. And to me, that's enough big names to make it go, I get their point, even if I don't think that's what
the pundits union, isn't it? Of course, pundits are going to stick up for other pundits.
Yeah, but they also do, if someone's out of line, they do say, Gary Lineker gets in trouble all the time for not shining away. he's not afraid to say his opinion, even if it's unpopular. And I think, like I say, I think Klopp's got a point. I think, was it 6-7 managers this season have all got congested fixture lists due to
One thing I didn't like, though, is him calling out Chris Wilder personally. I think that's a bit unclassy.
Well, because Chris Wilder called him out beforehand.
Oh,
Chris
did
Wilder
he?
said, yeah, Chris Wilder made comments about what Klopp had said beforehand. So Klopp was responding to him. And then Wilder responded again.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Because Chris Wilder's comment... Oh, okay. I might have to look up the comments and stuff because I can't remember anymore. But basically, it was about the 3 subs thing. And Chris Wilder was talking about, it gives the bigger teams an unfair advantage. And Klopp's going, well, not really, because I'm not taking Robertson off after 60 minutes for Tsimikas because I'm like, oh, that's a great tactical change. He's doing it so Robertson can get a rest and recover and avoid injury. His whole point is you're making this about a tactical thing. It's not. It's about making sure players are safe. And we've seen that this year. We've had so many injuries in so many different teams this season compared to like Liverpool have got like they've had about 7 players injured at different points already. We're 10 games in.
Did you see after the game on Monday night the debate between Neville and Carragher?
I didn't catch it. I'm afraid I had stuff going on.
Neville had some sort of stats details about most games in the season in the Premier League. Liverpool up till November the 28th this year have had 17 games, which resulted in about 5.5 days per game. If they carry on at the moment, and let's say their maximum possible games left is 60 apparently, which I don't get, but that would be 4.5 days per game apparently if they were on the current rate, which is less. I didn't really get the point Gary Neville was trying to make.
I think the point he was making is less rest time. Because if you're competing to be in Europe and go far in domestic cups, you have to expect a heavier fixture list, right? Yeah. You can't want to be in the Champions League, go all the way, win the FA Cup and win the league kind of thing, and not expect more fixtures. But I think
the main point Neville was trying to make is that he thinks Klopp's overreacting when it comes to the amount of rest time he's got.
I saw that Neville made a comment about how it's the same thing Ferguson and Wenger did, where they make complaints and complain because then if they lost, they had this narrative, and then if they won, they'd overcome this narrative.
Yeah.
And maybe that is it, but knowing Klopp and knowing how much he cares about his players, I think it's more just he's looking at all of his players dropping like flies. Like Keita's played like twice. Oxlade's still out injured. Thiago's still a few weeks away. Trent's out injured. Alisson's injured again. Van Dijk's sitting at home for the season. Gomez isn't that far behind him. You're looking at that number of players injured, not to mention Matip's already been injured for a part this season, same as Fabinho, same as Salah for a point, same as Henderson. Like, if you're looking at that many names injured, especially because Liverpool are a team that have got good fitness levels, there's going to be a hangover fatigue from how hard they've been pushing the last few years, but there's also something else there. I think it is fixture congestion. Like, Lampard's complained about it, Ollie's complained about it, Arteta's mentioned it, Mourinho's mentioned it.
I think the main thing is the pre-season and the lack of which the players got over the pre-season, I suppose, because it was all congested. But yeah, I'd argue Liverpool have done okay so far for what people thought they were going to do with the amount of injuries they have at the moment. So I'd say fair play for that.
I was going to say, they haven't dropped that many points during the injury spell.
Nah.
In fact, if I'm not mistaken, we have only lost one game this season, and that was to Villa. We drew to Brighton, we drew to City, and we drew to someone else, and I've forgotten. Anyway, shall we move on to the other controversial game?
Yep, let's do it. So, it was West Ham versus Aston Villa.
It did look a good game, though.
I hope. Yeah, it was a good game. Again, West Ham continue their kind of pretty decent form, to be honest. And
Villa did not look bad either. Villa looked very
West Ham got very lucky to get a win there. It was
they did get lucky.
Bit of a smash and grab.
Especially the second half, Villa were all over them.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously they had a goal disallowed in the 93rd minute, I believe.
Because his badge was offside.
It was more like his shoulder was sticking out a little bit, so that's why it was offside.
Well, no, but when they drew the line...
There's no way to run forward without your shoulder sticking out a little bit.
When they drew the line, it was here. They drew the line to there. And I'm like, how is... This is to my point. I don't understand how... If you can't score a goal with your arm, right? You can score a goal with your shoulder, but if you can't score a goal with your arm, how can it be ruled as that's interfering in play?
Yeah.
Because there's no physical way you can move forward without moving your shoulder forward. That's just not possible.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous.
I think
to be honest, though, Ollie Watkins had a chance to get a draw before that, and he didn't take it.
Yeah, that's true. But still, I think this comes back to the debate about the new rules saying should there be advantage given to the attacker. If it's a situation like that, then they definitely should have the advantage.
Yeah, yeah. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because it is every week we're talking about VAR decisions. Like, I don't want to talk about VAR every week, but every week there's something else to talk about. I don't understand how something like this could be applied so poorly. Like, it should be making the game better. We don't have issues with goal line technology. You know, we don't have issues with...
Well, apart from that Villa Sheffield game last season.
Yeah, 1 out of 9,000 incidents this season. Yeah. That's a pretty good track record.
Yeah.
More people die by being struck by... I don't know. Anyway, my point is that we've had other things brought into the game to help with improving the game, making sure there's less issues. I don't understand how... VAR sometimes gets really right. Penalty calls, like fouls, things that should have a second look taken at them. Sometimes it's got them spot on. It is the offsides. It's the one area of VAR that is the big issue. And let's be real. No one has an issue with VAR when it says, look at that challenge again. That's maybe a red card, not a yellow card. No one has an issue with that. It's the offsides every week.
Mm.
And it's killing the game.
Well, I mean, you know, it's bad when even the players are coming out and saying on Twitter, like, yeah, VAR is basically ruining the game. I'm losing my passion for the game. I mean, that's telling.
Well, because managers are going to complain about it. No, managers are going to complain about it. We know that. Pundits and commentators can complain about it. We know that. Players usually don't run the risk in case they get fined or get into trouble. You notice that players usually say less things about a result than a manager does.
Mm.
So for players to come out, pretty damning. I think we won't see it next season. I think they'll pack it in.
I don't think
they'll reform it more than just scrap it completely. Like,
well, no, because that was this season. That was the deal. The deal was because last season a lot of managers wanted to scrap it, and they said, "Okay, we see the issues. We'll tweak it. We'll go again. We'll give it another season."
They haven't.
Well, no, they've tweaked it, but they've tweaked it in the wrong bloody way. So I imagine it might be just Bennett at this point. I think
in the Eredivisie they've gone completely against the FIFA
fault.
Rules and they've implemented their own rules. Maybe you could do something like that.
Well, again, not really, because Holland were the ones that went against FIFA's rules. The UK, a lot of the referees in the UK have petitioned FIFA to change the rules, and FIFA have said no. The head of
maybe the UK could do the same thing as the Eredivisie then. And
they probably should. They probably should. But it's also maybe they're not confident in facing the wrath of FIFA. Maybe. So yeah, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating. I think it'll just be a pack it in until later date.
Yeah. On the footballing side of the game, though, West Ham, they're now up to 5th in the table. I don't think anybody would have predicted that after 10 games.
Well, I mean, I was the only one who wasn't predicting them to be in a relegation scrap.
I was not. I predicted them to finish safe. He predicted them to go down.
Well, I think you predicted just above the relegation zone, though, didn't you? Like,
I can't remember.
16%.
I think Villa will finish top 10 at this rate with the way they're playing. They might not have won, but I think Villa were the best.
They're going to be like the Burnley of last season where they finished in the top 10. That sort of.
Yeah, Villa's record ain't been great.
No, but Villa playing such good football.
Last 5 games, they've lost 4 of them.
Yeah, but once again, it's not. I'm looking at more how they're playing rather than the results. Like, some teams they'll still lose to, but there's a lot of teams that they would have lost to last season that I don't think they'll be losing to any this season. With that attacking prowess going forward, Barkley,
unless Grealish gets injured.
Watkins. Yeah, if Grealish or Watkins gets injured, they'll be in trouble. But Grealish is pretty consistent. I can't attest to Watkins.
Injury-free most of his career. He hasn't got injured that much. Again, Watkins for Brentford, like he was basically our only striker last season, and he never got injured, thank God. So that's a good sign for Villa that he didn't get injured.
So my point stands then. I think based on what we then again, Van Dijk can't be injured in about 4 seasons.
I'm just looking at the fixture list. It says Villa don't have a game coming up this weekend. Is that right?
Yeah, because Newcastle had an outbreak of coronavirus.
Oh, because of Corona.
Yes. Yeah, that's been messing up a lot of sports. NFL had to push a game nearly a week, and their fixture list is much more kind of. They can't afford to push fixtures too often.
Corona. Yeah, no, that ain't good. That means Villa are going to have 2 games in hand then, so that's potential for them to rock it up the table a bit more out of nowhere.
It's one of their games in hands to Burnley, isn't it?
So that's
I can't remember if it's Villa or up because it's 2 Manchester clubs and it's Villa and Burnley. They're the 4 teams that have a game in hand, and I can't remember. Well, it's not Man City Burnley because they've just played. So it's either Man City Villa or Man City v Man United is the game in hand.
2 winnable games for Villa.
I meant it's either Villa v Man City or Villa v Burnley, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you if they won their 2 game in hands, they'd be right up at the top of the table again. So
I don't expect Villa to finish. I don't expect Villa to finish in a European spot. But I with the way they're playing, I wouldn't be shocked if they finish top 10. They're playing really good football right now.
There's news coming out today that there's going to be the new European Conference League going to be starting next season, isn't it?
I have no idea. This is the first I've heard of it, actually.
Yeah, the 3rd tier Europa kind of competition that they've been talking about.
Is that really necessary?
Yeah, let me just get it up quickly whilst we've got...
I can't see that being...
3rd tier.
So what? So you know how the teams that finished 3rd in Champions League groups go into Europa League? Does that mean the teams that finished 3rd in the Europa League go to this one?
So who qualifies for Europa Conference? The competition will primarily be contested by teams from lower-ranked UEFA member associations. 10 teams eliminated in the Europa playoffs.
So that
maybe
means
it'll just be for the lower leagues. Like
I was going to say that sounds like lower leagues. No, but that could be like League One, Championship.
No, I mean like lower countries that are lower down in the UEFA's rankings, like Liechtenstein or Malta or Belarus and places like that.
It's interesting.
Estonia.
That's not going to help the old congestion next season, but yeah.
Well, these teams in the shit leagues aren't playing in Europe usually, so it'll be a chance for them.
It'll be teams like Crystal Palace. Okay, now we're going to talk about some of the teams that aren't doing as well as some would have imagined they would be, and we are going to start by looking at Leicester losing at home 2-1 to Fulham. I'm sure that's a game that ruined a lot of people's bets over the weekend.
When we say they're not doing too well, we don't mean like Leicester's still in a good position in the league, and they're still pretty close to the top of the table. But recent performances, Leicester have lost the last 3 games.
In all competitions.
In all competitions.
Yeah.
And one of them was and one of them was to Fulham and Stephen, who did they lose to during the week?
Zorya Luhansk in the Ukrainian Premier League.
And they drew with Braga 3-0 and obviously lost to Liverpool in a very bad game.
So they've had 1 point out of possible 12, and I know they're different competitions, but my point still stands.
Yeah. It's not looking great. Not looking ideal for Leicester at the moment.
What do we think is wrong with them?
Do you know what? I couldn't tell you. I think from what I saw against Liverpool and from what I've seen against Fulham, I think they've just lost the battle in the midfield. Personally, especially against Liverpool, it was evident to me that I didn't think Maddison and Telemans played very well, and obviously them 2 are very instrumental players in that Leicester team.
Yeah.
So that's the main point on my part. Probably fatigue as well, I guess. They've got a lot of games. They're going all around Europe. But yeah, that's the main points from me. Fair play to Fulham because they showed signs against Everton that they could get a result, and obviously they've done it against Leicester.
Lookman stepped up.
Lookman stepped up, yeah, finally.
I think Fulham looked really good in that game. They totally deserved that win.
Going down.
If there was someone who knew nothing about the Premier League and they watched that game, and you told them the team in blue were considered one of the favourites to finish in the top 4, and the white team were one of the favourites to go down, I think they wouldn't believe you. It was that sort of game. Fulham looked really good, and Leicester looked pretty shit.
White is right.
Exactly. Like that. How does this affect how Fulham are going to play going forward, do you reckon? Is that a bit of a fire under their belly now?
Definitely give them confidence.
Yeah, it gives them a chance to build on a good win and try and get momentum going.
I mean, it's just a shame they're going to be getting momentum straight away going, and their next game is against Man City away. So
don't they have us soon as well?
They do. Yes, they got Man City and then Liverpool.
Crikey!
So if you're looking at a time to start picking up form, this is really not the time.
Yeah. Then again, if they get a draw, Man City somehow, or when even, I'm not saying
with how Man City have been, I wouldn't be over. I would be shocked, but not surprised.
I don't know. I still think City will beat Fulham comfortably.
Oh, I still think they will, but I'm saying imagine if they didn't.
No spoilers on my.
But it will be a closer game. It won't be a 5-0.
No, it won't be a 5-0. It'll be a 3-0. Anyway, another team that maybe surprised us, probably not though, because the history over the last 15 years. Arsenal lost at home 2-1 to Wolves.
Both these teams can be summed up in the same word, and that's inconsistent.
But remember, this was a Wolves side that didn't have Raul Jimenez on the pitch for about 95 minutes, because there was about 10 minutes added on.
Yeah, but my point is, both sides have had games where they've looked very good and then had games where they've looked very poor. So I think that just sums up both teams perfectly.
I think the main thing I took from that game was that Arsenal just have too much deadwood on the pitch. They got players. Most biggest shout-outs, Bellerin and Xhaka. They just passed it.
Even Lacazette.
I think Mikel Arteta's got to put an Amber Alert for Emerick Aubameyang, because I don't know where he is. Do you?
He missed an absolute golden chance. He put a header wide. I was like, if that was last season, Aubameyang would
Saka looked pretty awful in that game as well. He didn't look good.
Yeah, but Saka's a young player. You can sometimes expect it. Aubameyang's their captain, isn't he?
I'd even argue going into it, Willian was probably their best player in the match, and he got subbed off.
How many goals has Aubameyang got this season? Genuinely, I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, he might have, and I've forgotten, but I can't recall Aubameyang scoring in the Premier League yet.
Who is Arsenal's top scorer right now?
I think he's only got one goal.
It might be Gabriel. Yeah, maybe Gabriel.
I'm going to look this up very quickly. You two keep entertaining the people whilst I just look up Arsenal.
So how did Brentford do?
We won 2-0 against Rotherham. Rotherham looked like an absolute pub side, as they are. And we, literally, their whole strategy was just to hack our wingers down when we went on the counter. And it worked for about 60 minutes. And then the Finnish legend, Marcus Forss, was first Brentford goal. I love that man. And then Tony scored a really good penalty. So far this season, Aubameyang's on 2 goals, which is joint with Gabriel. Their top goal scorer is actually Alexandre Lacazette, who's got 3 goals. Wow.
Aubameyang's got 2 goals in 10 games.
They're not scoring goals.
With the way things are going, he's on track to finish the season with 7 goals.
Yeah. So putting into perspective,
change in formation.
Because
we all praised Arteta when he changed the formation initially, and it started to work, and now it's starting not to work. Maybe does he need to?
Yeah, but he changed the formation to fit his tactics. If he changes it again, he's going to have to change his tactical plan, which is
he needs to change his tactical plan, because in 10 games they've scored 10 goals and conceded 12. They've only won 4 out of the 10. So if that's not a kind of green light that you need to change something, then I don't know what is.
Yeah, and of those 4 wins, I think 2-3 of them came in the first 4 games.
Well, if you're not going to change the formation, what do you need to change then? If Arsenal want
I honestly think it's just the players at this point.
I think it's the players.
They've had three different managers, and all have had the same issues.
It's a squad at the moment that's just not good enough, and it's also a squad that heavily relies on Aubameyang.
I think you get new owners and new board in. To be honest, I think that's the main issue.
Yeah, easier said than done.
Obviously, I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm saying to me that's their main issue. Like every issue can be traced back to Stan Kroenke.
Apparently, the two board members with the most shares at Arsenal both can't stand the sight of each other. Suppose that doesn't help when they try to do transfer business.
No, but their owner never comes to the games. He sends his son.
Yeah.
So out of that whole Arsenal team, I think the only player that's consistently impressed me this season is Gabriel. Everybody else has been inconsistent at best and shite at worst.
Leno's impressed me in quite a few games.
I think Leno was poor in that Wolves game. That second goal was easily... he could have done better to get that. Because he saved the shot, it parried straight back to Podence. I mean, to be fair, he did take it quite well, Podence. But
Wolves... Wolves have continued their very inconsistent and unable to call what way it's going to go form, haven't they?
Yeah.
To be fair, the one player that has really gone under the radar is Podence. I think he looks, on his day, he looks unplayable. He looks Hazard-esque, dare I say. But it's just a shame that he just doesn't bring that to on his day, he is watching Eden Hazard, but that's one in 3 games.
So would you say, in the word to describe him, similar to the word to describe Wolves, inconsistent?
Yeah.
Well, that's Wolves' problem. Wolves, when they play on their day, are one of the best teams in the league. They are very difficult to beat. Break down Connor Cody in defence, Ruben Neves in midfield, Traore, Jimenez. I know Jimenez is out right now, but overall, Wolves have got some very good players. And when they play well, they're brilliant.
It's interesting how they're going to play without Jimenez because he is their talisman.
I think Pedro Silva didn't impress me.
Neto got a goal. Neto's looking all right, but you don't want to lose your main goal scorer. You don't look at Man City.
Pinning your hopes on an 18-year-old is not really what you want to do.
No. So it's going to be, again, interesting what happens to Wolves. But yeah, I think Jimenez being out is a main factor. That's going to be instrumental for them at the moment, put it basically.
Well, he might still be able to play. He might just have to wear a head guard or something.
Talking about teams that you can't call, Everton lost at home to Leeds 1-0.
Do you remember before the Everton-Liverpool game, we were all talking about Everton being a favourite to potentially finish in the Europa League / top 4?
Mm.
What happened?
I think they could get Europa.
Well, both of their best fullbacks got injured.
Yeah. And in general, their defence just isn't...
They're not the only team. But what I mean is...
Could you imagine Liverpool had Trent and Robertson out injured?
We have Trent and Van Dijk out injured.
Yeah, that's fine. That's but having both of your best fullbacks... No, but I mean... Yeah, but you have to cover a defence, right? But having 2 of your fullbacks out...
No, I get it, but neither are out with serious long-term injuries.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll, as soon as their fullbacks come back, they'll be.
But the thing is, they were still dropping points before the fullbacks got injured.
Yeah, I know, but I think the main reason why Everton were doing so well is because they had Digne and Coleman, who were their main threats, and without them, they're just not. Where's
James Rodriguez gone? Where's Richarlison gone? Where's Calvert-Lewin's still one of the top goal scorers in the league, but I don't think he scored in. What, a couple of weeks now?
He scored for Fulham, against Fulham.
Yeah. Right, so, a couple of weeks. My point is that it's not just those and the fullbacks. I think just their whole overall quality has dropped. Maybe it's fatigue, maybe it's teams are kind of sniffed them out a bit. Maybe they just had that kind of push of no signings that you see sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm thinking of bringing a new segment onto the show that you talk about every week, and it's just basically a little segment that is where will Leeds finish come the end of the season? Because I feel like I need to ask that question every week because Leeds keep doing different things. Currently, Stephen, where do Leeds finish at the end of the season?
Solidly lower mid-table.
Still lower mid-table.
12.
Where they are now?
Top half of the bottom half of the table.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really helpful.
So 10 to 14. 10 to 14, that's it. 10th to 14th.
Yeah, I think a better man. That's probably fair.
Well, going back to Everton,
we'll see what we say next
Everton
week.
having the same problem that Liverpool had a few years ago, where their attack was really good, their midfield was good, but their defense is just dodgy.
So
Yeah,
when
you've
Everton
got to go and invest.
when Everton signed Koulibaly in January.
But I actually watched a video the other day where basically Everton, they are spending stupid amounts of money. Like their wage to turnover percentage is 85%. They spend 85% of their turnover on wages.
That doesn't surprise me.
That's like way above anybody else.
If you've got the new stadium,
that's not a healthy business model
coming in, which should help them with getting more fans in, generate a bit more money. They've got Ancelotti. A lot of players want to come play for Ancelotti. Yeah, so I think.
I think that's sort of thing as well, where if they qualify for like the Europa League, they might not be able to play because they'll be punished for financial fair play because of how much money they've been spending, and not much is coming back in. So Everton could be in real trouble.
That's the problem. Everton always try and spend lots of money to catch up to Liverpool, and they're not spending wisely. This summer they've spent more wisely than they've done in the past 10, 15 years. They brought in 3 players this summer, 4 now.
If Everton don't win anything this season or get into Europa or Champions League, they could be in real big trouble financially. So they can't afford to keep being like this. They've got to really step it up and get back to where they were. Otherwise, they could be in real trouble.
We'll see. Shall we move on now to our fixture predictions? Before we do, I just want to say Chelsea, Tottenham, we should have probably won that. If Giroud doesn't start on Saturday.
I think that was a game of 2 halves. Just quickly, I think that was a game of 2 halves. I think Tottenham had more showing in the first half and Chelsea looked better in the second.
Well, I saw a stat as well where in that second half, Tottenham's XG was 0.0.
Expected goals. If Tammy Abraham could finish his dinner, then we might have been able to win. But anyway, we won't dwell on that. Let's move on to our fixture predictions. No game on tonight, actually. No Friday night football.
No, because it was postponed, wasn't it?
It's because
that was a Newcastle Villa game.
Gotcha. Okay, so anyway, then in that case, we start at 12:30 at lunchtime. 2 managers who probably won't be able to moan about having the early kickoff. It's Burnley versus Everton. Stephen.
Well, I was just talking about how Everton need to start bouncing back and they've got to get back in gear, and I think they will. And I'm going to say 2-0 to Everton.
I feel Burnley's obviously not the easiest place to go in if you talk about history. But I think Everton will win 2-1. Yeah, 2-1. Tight game.
I've also went 2-0 to Everton because I think they'll bounce back and they'll go out looking for a win, and they've got too much going forward. So 2-0.
Yeah, I think Everton's dodgy defence won't be tested too much by Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes. So.
Interesting though. We've all got everything down to win. I wonder who will have down to win the next game. Man City versus Fulham. Fulham, who's starting to get that fire under their belly. Right, lads. Anthony, what's the score going to be?
Based on the past weekend's results, I predicted Fulham to win 4-0. No, I'm joking. I've predicted Man City to win 4-0.
4-0 Man City, yeah.
I don't think Fulham's defence can cope with the attacking threats Man City do have.
No, I think you're probably right. Stephen, hello, Kat. Stephen, what do you think?
Well, you could say the same thing about Leicester, but obviously that happened. But I still think City are going to win.
It's different qualities.
Yeah, I still think City are going to win. 3-1 though. I think Fulham will get a goal, so I'm going to say 3-1.
Poe, what are you playing at? I'm going to go. No, I'm not going to say Fulham are going to score a goal. I'm going to go for 3-0 to Man City. I'll meet you two in the middle.
Can you meet me halfway?
and on that note, West Ham versus Man United. This could be an interesting one. I personally am going to go 1-1.
Well, I'm say a draw, but I'm going to say there's going to be more goals. And I'm going to say 2-2. West Ham to go 2-0 up at half-time. Cavani to be subbed on and score 2 goals for a 2-2.
That could be fair, yeah. West Ham been a good form, but United seem to get quite lucky. So, 1-0 and 2-0. Anthony?
I've went 2-1 to West Ham.
Ooh.
I think West Ham have been in good form recently. I think United have been very inconsistent. So, West Ham to win 2-1. I think there might be some VAR controversy. Maybe United score a late goal that's disallowed. Or penalties given to West Ham. I don't know, but I predict there to be some controversy in this game.
All three cats
How
on
many
the bed.
cats do you have on that bed?
It's
How
like
many
a
cats do
line.
you have? I thought you only had 2 cats.
No, I've got 3 cats now. Look at them with like a little line. They're so cute.
When did the third one come in?
Oh, no, I had one. So I had her. She's about 13 years old. She had a brother who died a couple years ago.
Oh.
Then we got these 2 back in April, I think. So, yeah, they're only little lads. She hates them. No, I'm joking. So, yeah, I'm a crazy cat man, unfortunately. I've got carried away, though. What were we on? West Ham, Man United. What was your prediction again, sorry?
I went 2-1.
2-1.
You went 1-0 and Stephen went 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one. Chelsea versus Leeds United. Could be potentially a quite dodgy game to predict. So maybe not, though. Stephen, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think that unlike the Tottenham game that just happened, I think there will actually be goals in this game. And I'm going to say 3-2 to Chelsea.
Yeah, that could be fair. Obviously, Mendy's... I mean, we keep more clean sheets, but I could definitely see where you're coming from. Ant, what do you say?
I went a similar route. I went 3-1 to Chelsea. I think they've got more than enough to beat Leeds, but I also think Leeds have been pretty good going forward. So, yeah, 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been quite good at predicting Chelsea results. Not to blow my own trumpet. But I think, do you know what? I didn't actually.
That's what the cats are doing behind you, blowing their own trumpet.
Yeah, it's true. Do you know what? I didn't actually watch the Chelsea-Seville game in full the other night because I was out. But
You call yourself a Chelsea fan.
I know, it's disgusting. I actually heard it was Chelsea's best performance of the season. So I have no reason to predict anything other than a Chelsea win. So I'm also going for Chelsea to win 3-1. Because I think Leeds can get a dodgy goal. Maybe Patrick Bamford is going to score against us. That's payback for never playing him. Loaded him out every year. West Brom versus Crystal Palace could be an exciting game. Stephen, what are you gone for?
A very exciting affair, 1-1.
I've also gone for a very exciting affair, 0-0.
I've also went 1-0.
So West Brom Palace is going to be the stinker of the weekend.
Fences.
We've all went for very similar results this week, so you know, guys.
Yeah, that's fine by me, mate. That's completely fine by me. So all for a draw for that. Sheffield versus Leicester. Sheffield need points. Leicester need to pick form back up. Anthony, what do you reckon?
I went 2-0 to Leicester. I think Sheffield have been very poor this season, and Leicester will need to come back. And is there any better game?
I had 2-0 down as well, but to be different, I'm going to say 2-1. Just so we don't all have the
extremely
same
different
result.
result.
That's different enough.
So it's
You
a
get
Sunday.
Spicy take.
I'm going to take a spicy-ish take. I'm going to go 1-1. Just because of the bad form Leicester have been on, and the fact Sheffield really need to get some sort of result. So yeah, I'm going to go 1-1. Yeah, 1-0. That's my take.
I think one of the major things we've seen this season is home advantage is not as strong as it has been in the past.
It's not. That is true. It's actually most games away teams are winning.
And Sheffield won't have any fans back, will they?
Nah.
No. I think, was it the London clubs and Liverpool and Everton are the only teams that have it.
What about South Coast, like Brighton, Southampton?
I think they don't either. I think it's just London and Liverpool. They might do, I might be wrong, but from what I can recall, the big issues, everyone was annoyed that Liverpool and London had it. Liverpool have a lower R number, which is why they got it, because Liverpool kind of went into like a semi-lockdown before the national lockdown. So like, think about it, they had a month of like you had to stay at home, and then the lockdown came in. Whereas London's London's tier 2?
Yeah.
Tier 2, yeah.
So people don't understand how the London teams have got fans back.
Yeah. Speaking of Brighton, Southampton, we'll get there in a minute. Tottenham versus Arsenal.
This is a big one.
This is a big one. Anthony, what do you reckon?
2-1 to Spurs.
2-1 to Spurs.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go for the classic Mourinho 1-0.
Oh, I mean, I've also gone for the classic Mourinho 1-0, and I'm refusing to change that. So, yeah. 1-0
we all predict Spurs to win.
We all predict Spurs to beat Arsenal, and on current form, they should, really. Liverpool versus Wolves. I'll go first, I suppose. I like Anthony go last. I'm going to go for Liverpool to win this 2-0, just because I think, even though Wolves won the other day against Arsenal, the fact that Jimenez won't be playing, well, I assume won't be playing. You think not, but I think Liverpool will. Yeah, I think they're at home. They'll win 2-0. Yeah, Stephen.
Again, I was originally going to say 2-1 to Liverpool, but I think if I were to beat you and catch up to you, I think I'm going to have to throw some spanners in the works. So I'm going to say 2-2.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, that's Sorry for not being spicy.
I've went for 3-1 to Liverpool. I've got back my own team, and I think losing Raul Jimenez will be a big deal. We tend to do quite well against teams that they're a bit more of a challenge. Like people at Leicester could beat Liverpool, wasn't an issue. Arsenal are playing well, Chelsea are playing well, Liverpool beat them both comfortably. So I think we've got what it takes to beat Wolves.
Yeah,
it depends what Wolves shows up. If the good or the bad Wolves shows up.
That's my point. And also Liverpool going forward won't be the issue. We'll probably have all four playing again. Salah, Mane, Firmino, Jota. Anfield has been incredible. Just a shame there's no fans there to see him.
Yeah.
Trent and Keita are both training with the team, by the way, guys. I just saw that pop up. But it's unclear if they will be playing. So Trent could be back for the Wolves game. So, yeah, I still think Liverpool have got what it takes to beat Wolves. So 3-1.
Also, it depends if Jimenez will be back as well. I doubt it, though.
I don't know how serious is his injury. He had to be stretchered off, didn't he?
Oh, it was.
He had a fractured skull.
It was awful. It was awful. The noise that it made. Oh, awful.
I also think being at Anfield, even though we've talked about home field advantage not being a thing, Anfield, with their current undefeated record there, Liverpool are determined to keep that.
Yeah,
I do think Liverpool will win, but as I said, just if I want to capture it to Matt, I have to go a bit different. So
I completely agree. But as a Liverpool fan, I can't go draw or Wolves win. I have to predict.
I don't think Wolves are going to win. Definitely not. But
I think I've only predicted one non-Liverpool win this season, and that was to Chelsea.
Yeah, that didn't go well. Brighton versus Southampton, the last game of the weekend. Stephen, what do you reckon?
Well, lads, Stephen's back in Brighton again. 1-0.
Wow. 1-0.
Come on, Seagulls!
Fair game. And what do you reckon?
I've went 2-1 to the Saints. I think they've been pretty good in recent weeks, despite no Danny Ings. They still looked good against United, despite losing. Ward-Prowse is looking good. Che Adams is looking good. So 2-1 Southampton.
You've gone for Southampton to win, and Stephen, you've gone for Brighton to win. I am going for... I'm not going for a draw. I thought you were going to expect me to go for a draw. I'm going to go for 1-0 to Southampton. Just because, away teams seem to be doing okay this season. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game because I think Brighton can be quite defensive when they want to. And I don't think they have enough going forward.
What do you guys consider a high-scoring game and a low-scoring game? So, 2-1. I consider 2-1 still kind of a low score. Well, not low scoring or high scoring.
At the moment, low scoring.
Yeah.
So
I think one team has to score at least 3.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, okay. One team has to score at least 3. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But then 2 is considered a high scoring game. I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all our predictions. So yeah. Thank you for watching as always. I've been joined by my lovely row of cats, and obviously
it's like.
I've respected a few kind of furry.
Have you seen the statue of the 3 monkeys? The 3 monkeys.
No evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
Yes, that. That's what you've got with cats.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think I've seen it. I'm sorry, I'd love to.
It's a really famous thing.
I know the Michael Jackson statue. Rest in peace. But yeah, anyway, that is the end of the
what a note to end the podcast on. Rest in peace, Michael Jackson.
No, rest in peace, Michael Jackson's statue. That's a big difference.
Sorry.
That has been off the
course,
Woodwork
Michael
podcast.
Jackson, famous Fulham ultra.
Arguably the famous person to walk on the pitch.
Here's your question for you all.
Yeah.
This is me testing your other knowledge in sport briefly. BBC Sport Personality of the Year award. Who's winning it, and why is it Lewis Hamilton?
Lewis Hamilton's going to win. Yeah,
but do you two know enough about F1 to know why?
Because he's basically set the record for most amount of F1.
He's tied it.
Oh, he's tied it.
Do you know who else owns the record?
Schumacher?
Yep, it was Schumacher. Although no one is saying Hamilton's as good as Schumacher despite tying it, because Schumacher went to a poor team, rebuilt them, and then won 7. He did the Klopp.
Always a German. Always a German.
I bet Lewis Hamilton can't wait to get his award whilst he's in his tax haven in Switzerland.
Do you think that Rashford should be nominated for BBC Sport Personality?
Well, they're not, because they're giving him a special award.
They're giving him a special award, which is good.
Because my big thing is, I was going to say, what he's done, while it is admirable and impressive and brilliant.
Fantastic.
It's not to do with sport. Did you see, he tweeted about recently that
special award's good.
There was a young kid who basically didn't like reading or eating his vegetables and such, and the mums now went, well, Marcus Rashford does it. Marcus Rashford reads, look at this. And now the kid reads all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those kind of stories.
Personally, I just want to say I would have voted. I would have had Tyson Fury winning it because I love him. But Lewis Hamilton. Nice.
If Hamilton hadn't tied Schumacher's record, Tyson Fury probably would have won it. So, and Jordan Henderson was nominated, but he's
ridiculous.
Not going to win. No, he deserves to be nominated. He deserves to be nominated. Captain of the Premier League winning team.
Yeah, maybe, and obviously he's done quite a lot during the lockdown period as well. But anyway, we're going to move on, and we're going to end that podcast here. So I'm very job by Stephen Hall in his lovely outfit, and Anthony Milne in his box standard stuff, and of course,
I'll add posters. Don't worry, I'll add posters.
No worries.
What do you think? See ya.
I know it's going to be a Liverpool poster or something.
It's not actually. It's not.
Okay, fair enough. Avengers. Right, see you later, people. Nice talking to you. Bye-bye. Or Pokemon, maybe. Bye.
No, not Pokemon. Bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.